Hi, my name is Prabhakar Rao and I am a seed keeper. You know, seed keeping has had a hoary tradition for at least 10,000 years on this planet. Farmers at the end of their harvest used to set aside the best seed from the healthiest plants for use in the next season. They would share it with friends and fellow farmers, thereby preserving biodiversity that nature had so bountifully bestowed upon us. Seeds belonged to the entire mankind. It was never the proprietary right of an individual or a corporation. Alas, this tradition is all but extinct today, and it has been so over the past 75 years. You know, when I was pursuing my doctoral studies in the field of plant breeding and genetics, in fact, I belong to the generation of scientists who brought the Green Revolution into the country, and my mentors were people like Dr. M.S. Swaminathan and Dr. M.V. Rao. But, you know, during that time, I always had this misgiving whether what we were introducing as industrial agriculture would be sustainable over a long period of time. What would happen in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years? That question would always linger somewhere in the back of my mind, and this tiny voice started to grow louder and louder till one fine day it was too much for me to handle. So I changed my field of study. I went to the US and I pursued architecture and went on to become a landscape architect, and all my professional career has that been of a landscape architect. In 2011 we came back to India, and during my travels as a landscape architect to very far-flung corners of the planet, I used to always collect seeds, especially vegetable seeds, because somewhere I had this intuitive feel that I needed to preserve them because I wouldn't see them in the market. In 2011, when we came back, I really started hunting for seeds. I went to very remote parts of India and also other parts of the world, and slowly I started to collect seeds that had already become extinct or they were on the verge of extinction. And I ended up collecting nearly 560 such varieties of seeds of indigenous heirloom vegetables, what we call desi or nati in vernacular. And then you have to put it through a very rigorous process of environmentally stabilizing it, genetically stabilizing it, and that takes about 4 to 5 years for each variety. And now I have with me about 146 varieties of vegetables which are stabilized, and I share them with garden enthusiasts and farmers who want to cultivate these varieties. You know, you can always ask the question, what is so special about preserving these heirloom or indigenous varieties of vegetables? The fact is that these are a part of our heritage. This is the biodiversity that Mother Nature gave us, especially with events such as climate change now becoming a reality. We need all the genetic resources that are available. We can't lose a single gene. That is how important it is. You know, it's like you hear about a bird being extinct or an animal facing extinction, or let's say some trees or orchids facing extinction. I mean, the world knows about it, the world is aware about it. But vegetables, as you can see from this infographic, in just about 100 years, we've lost nearly 97% of all the biodiversity that ever existed in the vegetables on this planet. You can see here, we had something like 420 varieties of tomatoes. Yeah? Today, if you go to the market, you will hardly find 2 or 3 varieties of tomatoes. Maybe there is a cherry tomato, and maybe there is the normal hybrid tomato. But what else? In my collection at Hariyali Seeds, I have over 25 varieties of just tomatoes, and each of them is different. It has a different flavor, it has a different texture, and the way it lends itself to cooking is completely different. We can't allow this biodiversity to be lost, because when we lose these heirloom varieties, we are losing tradition, we are losing heritage that belongs to us, that makes us who we are. In the culinary field, let me quote a couple of examples. For example, you had this very beautiful brinjal that used to be very common 30-40 years ago in Karnataka, which was called the Yerengere or the Mysore brinjal, Mysore Badnekai. Now, this was very special because this was the brinjal, the only brinjal that would be used for making a delicacy in Karnataka called Vangibath. Now, if you were going to cook Vangibath, you needed this Yerengere Badnekai. No other brinjal would do. But today, you just don't find this brinjal. It's a beautiful green colored brinjal that's almost white in color. But today, what you find are the hybrid. The hybrids look like the heirloom or the Yerengere brinjal, but in terms of texture and flavor, not a patch. Similarly, we have a vegetable that is called the Mangalore Sautekai. It's like a very large gherkin. And this gherkin is used in a dish that is called Saru, Mangalore Saru. It's a very light, it's not thick, it's a very thin sambar dish, very, very delicious. And it is a speciality of the Western Ghats, the Malnad region of Karnataka. Now, the important thing is that the vegetable that went into it was the original heirloom Mangalore Sautekai. Now, the important characteristic of this Mangalore Sautekai, the traditional one, the heirloom one, the indigenous one, was that when it is cooked, the piece of vegetable would have two textures. On the inside of the vegetable, it would be soft as butter, melt in your mouth, but on the skin side, on the outer skin side of it, it would be hard and crunchy. Now that contrasting texture of butter soft and crunchy texture would give that experience of eating authentic Mangalore Saru. And today you have the hybrid Mangalore Sautekai, which is atrocious because it is soft right through. There is no contrast in textures between the soft and the crunchy. It's just soft right through, and therefore you cannot experience that authentic taste of Mangalore Saru using this hybrid. Similarly, we used to have this cucumber that was called Nimbu Sautekai. And this Nimbu Sautekai was an apple-shaped round cucumber which is very crunchy. You crunch into it and it used to have this beautiful lime flavor in it. That lemony tang would burst in your mouth. And it used to be used in pickles, it used to be used to make curries, it used to be made as raw salad. I mean, it was rampant. 40 years ago, you'd find it all over. It used to grow wild on the sides of the railway tracks. Today, it's just not there, gone. So, same thing about the aloo kakdi. It is a cucumber that looks like a potato. And it has got a delicious flavor, and many culinary dishes are made from that. Similarly, Puna kakdi, another wonderful cucumber variety that's just nowhere to be seen these days. So, we need to preserve these not only for the gene pool and the biodiversity, but for reviving the authentic culinary heritage that makes us who we are. So what can the culinary or the hospitality industry do to revive these varieties? First of all, I think we need to create awareness. We need to start, the chefs need to start using these vegetables and start creating signature dishes using them, and reviving the authentic dishes that used to be made by the people here in India 40-50 years ago, and really create the awareness for this. Once you create the awareness, people will start asking for this vegetable, a demand will be created, and then the farmers will grow them happily because it will fetch them a better price. There are so many varieties of okras. There are so many varieties of brinjals. You know, India is one of the centers for biodiversity of brinjals. There are so many varieties of tomatoes, chili peppers. I mean, every one of them is so unique and so flavorful. And for chefs, you will love it because you can really experiment. I mean, today, what do you have from the market? Every vegetable, at the max, you have 2 or 3 varieties. But then if you have on your palette something like 15, 20, 25 varieties of the same vegetable, imagine just what you can do with that. And most importantly, in this entire process, you would have done the planet a great service because you would have ensured that at least that particular variety whose awareness you created and you are a part of its revival, that variety still will continue to exist somewhere on this planet. Summing up, I would say, let's save these vegetables.